Now on Nightside, the latest pretrial rulings in the Brian Kohberger murder case, how these rulings will impact the defense.
I'm tracking a few light showers moving through the region tonight, plus a big warming trend in the first alert forecast.
And after a man was hit by a driver suspected of DUI and left in critical condition, how Spokane police are trying to stop impaired driving. You're watching 4 News Now, Nightside. Well, new in the pretrial hearing for Brian Kohberger, the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students, the trial for the case will begin on schedule this August. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Derek Dice. The judge dealt 2 major blows to Kohberger's defense team today, denying their request to delay the trial and not allowing the possibility of there being another suspect. The defense team has been arguing it needed more time to sift through 68 terabytes of evidence in this case, and that the pretrial publicity would make it impossible to find an impartial jury. But the judge denied those arguments. The defense has also tried to present evidence that someone other than Kohberger committed these crimes, mentioning 4 alternative perpetrators in a closed-door meeting. 3 of them were socially connected to 1 or more of the victims, lived within walking distance, and knew the layout of the home. But the judge said there was no further connection to the crime, and each person has cooperated with police and provided DNA and fingerprints. The 4th person had a passing connection with one of the victims and saw her shopping at a store 5 weeks before the murders. The court record says he followed her out of the store and tried to talk to her, but turned away before doing so. The incident was captured on security cameras. That person in question cooperated with police and provided a DNA sample. Jury selection will begin August 4th. Opening statements are slated for August 18th. You'll be able to follow the trial along with us here on 4 News Now. A 21-year-old Spokane father is left fighting for his life after being hit and dragged by a DUI driver. Spokane police say he's one of 2 people seriously injured by the same impaired driver in separate collisions. Ali Abbas is currently in the hospital with broken bones from head to toe and an infection that's growing in his body. His family says he's unrecognizable after being hit and dragged for several blocks. His 4-year-old son has been asking what happened to his dad.
He knows his dad in the hospital, but doesn't know how bad it is. He just said, tell dad I love him. And I'm like, I'll do.
And data from the Traffic Safety Commission shows a rise of impaired drivers and deadly crashes. In the city of Spokane, the number of fatalities has jumped from 8 in 2023 to 12 in 2024. To address this, Spokane police started enrolling 2 full-time DUI enforcement officers. Police encourage you to call 911 if you believe you see an impaired driver on the road. Rathdrum City Council approved a controversial rezoning of a 127-acre plot of land yesterday. This property, owned by Hayden Homes, could potentially be developed into nearly 500 homes. But people who live in Rathdrum say the city doesn't have the infrastructure for that kind of growth.
Water, power, sewage, all of that is not in place and should be before the approval.
Now, in order for this rezoning to be approved, the developers had to come up with plans to handle the influx of traffic. But even with the plan for traffic concerns, people in Rathdrum still worry about losing the small-town feel the city has always had. All right, it was one of those Goldilocks days Chris likes to talk about, but things are heating up as we head into the weekend, right?
Absolutely. We have one more day in those 70s before we jump into the 80s and then the 90s. Right now, this is pretty much our last chance to see any sign of precipitation for the next 7 days. Just some spotty sprinkles down in the LC Valley, up along the Canadian border. And then we do have a couple of spots closer to Spokane, from down around the Endicott area to just south of Sprague. We've also been watching some light showers that move through the Moses Lake area. You may get a sprinkle or 2 in Ritzville here in the next little bit. Forecast radar shows the chance of very lightest of showers until about 2 a.m. and then we are drying out for Friday, and we'll start to see more and more sun as the day goes on. We'll start the day off in the mid-50s. 75 by 3 o'clock. Our high tomorrow, 78, is just a degree above average with a real nice breeze to help cool you down, only in the 15 to 20 mile per hour range for the most part. I will be back to tell you about that warming trend and have a good look at your Hoopfest weekend forecast in just a few minutes, Derek.
All right, sounds good. Basketball players in Spokane are proving the game is about more than just scoring points. In a new event at Hoopfest, a group of ballers is playing for 24 hours straight to raise thousands of dollars for local foster children. Starting tomorrow at 7 a.m., 32 players will shoot hoops for 24 straight hours on the courts outside the podium. It's called Embrace Hoopfest. Each player raised at least $1,000 to play. The money will support Hoopfest Youth League and Embrace Washington, a local nonprofit that supports children in foster care in the Inland Northwest. Jason Reinhardt helped bring this event to Spokane.
Biggest hope for the weekend is, one, for people to see how basketball can impact the lives of others, not just those playing, which obviously it has a benefit of being fun and it's good exercise, but that we can do things that we're passionate about to help those in need.
So far, Embrace Hoopfest has raised over $30,000. For information on how you can help make a difference, just visit our website and find this story on KXLY.com. Hoopfest team check-in also began today. It'll be open all day tomorrow as well at Pavilion Plaza in Riverfront Park. Sports Director Jack Wallace joining me now for an update on Gonzaga star Ryan Nembhard's path to the NBA.
Well, it took a little minute. No dice on the draft tonight, but Ryan didn't have to wait too long, only about 15 minutes later, to find his new NBA home. Now, as one of the top undrafted free agents, it took, yes, about 15 minutes for Nembhard to land his new spot. He's going to the Dallas Mavericks, the first Zag to become a Maverick since the legendary Dan Dickau in 2004. Nembhard's non-selection breaks a 4-year Gonzaga streak of players drafted, and he signed a 2-way deal, which that means Nembhard will likely spend a decent chunk of time playing for Dallas's G League team, the Texas Legends in Frisco. Nembhard joins a Dallas team that only had one draft pick, which you probably remember, #1 overall Cooper Flagg. Now, as of right now, Dallas also added Miles Kelly from Auburn on a 2-way deal as well. Nembhard's going to make half of the rookie minimum roughly, so that's around $300,000 with this deal. The contract is also not guaranteed and has a cap of 50 games that Nembhard can play at the NBA level, per him doing a lot better in that lower level. Mavs will play in the Las Vegas Summer League starting up on July 10th. They're going to play at least 5 games. Nembhard is now the 13th player from Gonzaga that's in the league. All 13 are on different teams. And you can hear more on his fit specifically in Dallas later on in Sports Tonight. Derek, back to you.
All right. Looking forward to it, Jack. Thank you. The Spokane Riverkeeper is analyzing increasing levels of PFAS in our local rivers. Experts say it's still okay to swim and float this summer, but you may want to leave the fishing pole at home. That's because biosolid fields are releasing forever chemicals into our local surface water. Here's a look at the fields between Deer Park and Chatteroy that use treated sewage as fertilizer. These are flowing into Dragoon Creek, which is also marked on your screen. Pollutant levels are also up downriver from the Riverside Park Water Reclamation Facility. Mary Sheridan took a trip to the Spokane River to learn more.
It really does take us all engaging with the river and engaging in the protections to ensure this change happens.
Specifically, protect the Spokane River from PFAS pollutants. New research from the Riverkeeper identified places with the highest concentrations of these forever chemicals.
We're looking at PFAS levels above and below the wastewater treatment plant here in the Spokane River, and we're also looking in Dragoon Creek above and below biosolids application sites.
Research suggests that the PFAS is coming from biosolids, treated sewage that can be used as fertilizer. I'm standing right beside the Spokane River, about 6 miles upriver from the Riverside Water Treatment Reclamation Center. Now, the water flowing downstream from that center contains 3.8 times more PFAS. Despite PFAS levels being lower than many of the other rivers in the study, multiple samples failed EPA thresholds. The Spokane Riverkeeper wants the city of Spokane to get permits that would test sewage for PFAS.
As long as we approach this collaboratively, we can really address this problem and remove biosolids as a source of PFAS from our river in the near future.
The city of Spokane says they're continuing to treat this water with the most advanced technology available.
We all want the same thing. And so, their role is to sound the alarms, and our role is to make sure that we're trying to be as proactive as we can given the resources that we have and the regulations that we need to comply with, and we are doing that.
Reporting in Spokane, Mary Sheridan, 4 News Now.
Well, the Trump administration is moving to repeal a rule that protects national forests from logging and new roads from being paved, meaning Washington forests could be at risk. The so-called Roadless rule has been in place since 2001, but critics say it can get in the way of active forest management and reducing wildfire risk. Conservationists say repealing the rule could have serious consequences for the environment and wildlife in national forests.
A lot of concerns about the care of our public lands and of the clean water and wildlife that rely on these intact areas.
Now, Idaho has its own roadless rule, so its forests won't be affected if the federal rule is rescinded. All right, still ahead here on Nightside, Republicans and Democrats divided over the U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities and the Supreme Court decision that could affect health care for thousands of people in Idaho.
Pick of the night tonight is from our friend Jerry Rawls, a gorgeous circumhorizon arc. Some atmospheric optics. He spotted this out at the Clear Lake Resort, Fairchild Air Force Base. Thank you, Jerry, for sharing this beautiful photo. I'll be back with a hot 7-day forecast after the break.
Connect with 4 News Now on KXLY+.
Olympus Living of the Spokane Valley. Independent and assisted living for adults 55+.
Style or substance. Somehow, it became one or the other. But there is another choice. Not stopping until you have everything in the GMC Sierra. Or get 0% APR on select Sierra 1500 models.
ShopDaveSmith.com.
At Shriners Children's, we're home to the world's leading pediatric orthopedic care. Because so many life-changing advancements start here. We provide access to the best doctors and never allow your ability to pay for services to compromise the care your child needs. We're the first place to turn for the most common or complex orthopedic conditions. Home to possibility and empowering kids to achieve the extraordinary. Shriners Children's, the most amazing care anywhere.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to take an adventure with rugged capability and commanding style. From the Kelley Blue Book Best Value brand. Right now, you can get a 2.49% APR on a 2025 CR-V.
I'm Mark Peterson, the Extreme Team and Horizon Credit Union, ready to take on our next job. If you know of a project that needs an Extreme Team makeover, go to KXLY.com to nominate it. Our thanks to Horizon Credit Union for sponsoring the 4 News Now Extreme Team.
Goodbye, everybody. I'm out of here.
Kimmel's out, and your favorite guest hosts are in all summer long.
What a super chill time to be doing a topical monologue on national television.
Jimmy Kimmel Live with summer guest hosts, weeknights on ABC.
All right, thanks for staying up with us. A paving project is underway in Airway Heights that will leave 6th Avenue closed during the day. According to the city, crews will be paving the road west of Lawson and on the east or to the east side of Ziegler Street. While the work is being done, people won't be able to access their own driveways or travel on that road between those streets. If you live in that area and need to leave during the day, they recommend you leave before 7 a.m. People can return after 7 p.m. each day. The work started today and will continue tomorrow and Monday. That's going to be a little rough for people who live on that stretch of road.
I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Hopefully you can just park elsewhere and then walk to your car. But whenever you leave your house tomorrow, you can expect some pretty nice weather, and it's only heating up as we head into the weekend.
That's right. We are still in the comfort zone tomorrow, and then things start to heat up. 4 things to know about your weather. We'll be in the 70s Friday. For Hoopfest weekend, closer to 80 on Saturday and then well into the 80s on Sunday. Dry for most areas other than an isolated mountain shower, but it really gets warm next week as we go into the 90s, and looks like we're going to stay in the 90s for a while. Today, we were at 77, which is exactly average. 100 is our record. Look at our sunrise and sunset times. Those are starting to change as we get past the longest day of daylight of the year, but we're still in the 4 o'clock hour, and 8:52 was our sunset time. Around the region, tomorrow's high temperatures will be very similar to what we saw today. A little bit warmer in Spokane. We'll be in the mid-70s through North Idaho, 87 in Lewiston, also in the 80s in Moses Lake, Grand Coulee, and Ritzville. Right around the Spokane area, 80 in 9 Mile, as well as downtown Spokane, where everybody's going to be congregating for Hoopfest check-in, 80 in Meade, and 73 in Spirit Lake, the cool spot on the map, 70s elsewhere. We are going to have a breeze, and it will be with us for most of the day. Sustained winds in the 5 to 15 mile per hour range, but we will have occasional gusts even in the morning of 20 miles per hour. In the afternoon, up to 25 mile per hour gusts. Should be very pleasant if you are out playing, a nice cooling breeze. However, as always, any kind of breeze is a concern as we're into fire season. Then we get into Hoopfest weekend, 80 degrees on Saturday, so not much of a warm up from Friday, just about average, but Sunday we're up in the mid to upper 80s with that bright sunshine, so that is going to feel warmer. Of course, we have had much hotter Hoopfest, that is for certain. Tracking our weather pattern, we have had a westerly flow that will continue tomorrow, which will help with the breeze, but we are going to be right between area of high pressure to our south, area of low pressure to our north next week, creating a strong southerly flow from the desert southwest, and that's what's going to bring our temperatures up into the 90s starting Monday and continuing all the way through the end of next week. So I guess as long as that Hoopfest, good that it wasn't shifted a few days later, because 90s in downtown Spokane on Hoopfest feels like an oven. I think we can handle 80 and 87.
I think so too. Chris, thank you. In Washington, D.C. today, the debate over how much damage the U.S. did to Iran's nuclear facilities continues. And Iran's supreme leader has responded publicly. ABC's Zoreen Shah has the story.
Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth, forceful and defiant, standing by the president and dismissing early intelligence from his own department. Sources telling ABC News that initial reports suggest the strikes may have set back Iran's nuclear program by just a few months.
Anyone with, two eyes, some ears, and a brain can recognize that kind of firepower with that specificity at that location and others is going to have a devastating effect.
Based on recent intelligence assessments, Hegseth and Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane insisted the strike sites were severely damaged, but offered no new details to indicate Iran's nuclear program was in fact destroyed. Intelligence sources say Iran had already moved at least some of its near weapons-grade uranium before the bombs ever hit. Still, the president pushing back online, writing, "Nothing was taken out of facility, would take too long, too dangerous, and very heavy and hard to move." Senators emerged from a classified briefing on the U.S. bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities, sharply divided along party lines, with the Republicans backing the strikes as a major setback for Iran's program, and Democrats casting doubt on the president's claims, saying the damage is far more limited.
I think little more than political spin from Secretary Hegseth.
And tonight, new questions about diplomacy. The president suggesting a meeting with Iran could happen within days. But today, the White House saying,
"We don't have anything scheduled as of now."
Across the globe, Iran's supreme leader speaking out publicly for the first time since the strike, calling the U.S. operation a failure and accusing the president of gross exaggeration. Over in Israel, their defense minister, Israel Katz, saying in an interview to Channel 13 that the country tried to assassinate Iran's supreme leader during the war, but there was no operational opportunity to do so. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, the Supreme Court ruled that states have the right to block Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood clinics. The 6-3 decision was made in Medina versus South Atlantic, where the court rejected a challenge to South Carolina's ban on Medicaid reimbursement for Planned Parenthood. This decision paves the way for other red states to ban the organization from receiving Medicaid reimbursements for services like cancer screenings, birth control, family planning, and pregnancy testing.
At our health center here in Idaho, about 40% of our patients are at or below the federal poverty line. With the healthcare crisis that Idaho is already facing, with physicians leaving the state, it's leaving less and less providers for patients to be able to turn to if they can't turn to Planned Parenthood.
Now, Idaho has not yet passed a law barring Medicaid reimbursements from Planned Parenthood. All right, coming up next on Nightside, the big decision East Valley voters will have to make in February. Stay with us.
Later tonight on Nightline, the prosecution wrapping up its explosive case against Sean Diddy Combs, their 5-hour closing argument against the rapper who denies all charges. And droves of A-list stars flocking to Venice for the union of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
After a car wreck, the longer you wait, the harder it can be to get what you deserve. Don't let big insurance get ahead of you.
Our team acts quickly to handle everything for you.
After my recent accident, I knew I needed help, so I called Craig Swap and Associates. They really fought for me and treated me fairly every step of the way.
Don't wait. Call Craig Swap and Associates today and let us handle it for you. One call, that's all.
509-999-9999.
Summer's heating up, but your home doesn't have to. During Mainstream's No Sweat Summer Sales event, it's easier than ever to upgrade your comfort with the best financing offer of the year. For a limited time, enjoy 6 months, no payments, no interest on new AC systems. Stay cool, save big, worry less. Call Mainstream today or visit mainstreamhomeservices.com to take advantage of this amazing offer. Cooler air is just a click or call away. Don't sweat it. Mainstream has you covered.
Barry Manilow. The last Spokane concert. Barry Manilow. See him performing all the hits for one night only at Spokane Arena Friday, July 11th. Get tickets now at ticketswest.com.
4 News Now is brought to you by Silver Mountain Resort in Kellogg, Idaho.
The East Valley School District wants voters to approve a $220 million bond in February to replace its aging middle school and high school. Both buildings are more than 60 years old and are showing their age. The bond replaces an expiring capital levy that cost taxpayers 73 cents per $1,000 of assessed property value. The new bond more than doubles that to $1.96 per $1,000 of assessed value. So for a home valued at $450,000, the new annual cost would be about $882.
These buildings, though loved and cared for by maintenance and custodial and taken care of, they've surpassed their life expectancy.
Now, if voters approve the bond, the district will receive $80 million from the state to update its 5 elementary schools. The district says the outdated buildings struggle to offer modern career and technical education programs students need. If the bond fails, Superintendent Brian Talbot says these problems won't disappear. Now for our top trending stories in the 4 News Now Story Tracker at number 3, a man has been arrested for starting a fire along the Centennial Trail in Spokane County on Saturday. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says 45-year-old Christopher Walzer was arrested and booked into jail for second-degree reckless burning. Next, the city of Ephrata is under a local state of emergency because of a critical failure in one of the city's main water sources. But the water quality is not affected, and the failure only affects supply capacity. The state of emergency will will help expedite repair work. And at number 1, the highway speed cameras in Liberty Lake and Skagit County have been removed by the Department of Transportation. Those cameras were part of a pilot program aimed at encouraging drivers to slow down. Notices were sent to drivers who were caught speeding or caught driving over the speed limit. You can find each of these stories right now on KXLY.com. All right, after a quiet NBA draft, at least for the second round, Gonzaga stars Ryan Nembhard and Ben Gregg have new NBA homes.
And Nembhard is off to Dallas on that two-way contract we talked about earlier. But how about old Ben? Check out where he is off to and a more in-depth look about how Nembhard fits into this Mavs team. All that coming after the break.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by R&R RV.
I just walked in and she's laying on the bathroom floor and there's blood everywhere.
Mo had the potential to be one of the greatest bike racers of all time.
No one in cycling gets murdered. What the hell is going on?
Authorities have charged fellow cyclists with first-degree murder.
What is it like to hear that your daughter is a fugitive?
Friday night.
We're going to hear from the last people who saw Mariah alive.
2020, Friday night at 9/8 Central on ABC.
From your head and shoulders, down to your toes, and everywhere in between. Kootenai Health provides advanced medicine right where you need it, right here in North Idaho.
You know, Donnie, when people hire the advocates, they don't just get me and you. They get a whole team of attorneys and paralegals ready to jump in and fight.
Gathering evidence, shutting down aggressive insurance adjusters.
Do what it takes.
Right. Hey, Ken, I'm ordering lunch. What do you want?
What are you getting?
A sandwich and potato soup.
There, you said it, potato.
Ken, I'm joking. Nobody says it that way.
Injured? You deserve an advocate.
Advocate.
We owe everything to our troops, past and present, for their honor, courage, and dedication. As a token of our appreciation, 4 News Now and Global Credit Union encourage you once again to wear red on Fridays.
Join us in recognizing our troops and their families for allowing us the freedom we enjoy every day as Americans. Stop into any Global branch to pick up a red pin and show your support.
And then wear red every Friday from now until September 11.
Wear Red Fridays, brought to you by 4 News Now and Global Credit Union.
Triathletes, if your body reminds you that you are not, in fact, made out of iron, know that Kootenai Health is here for every stroke, pedal, and step of your journey. Find your specialist at kh.org.
Ryan Nembhard is the newest Dallas Maverick after not being selected in the NBA draft, rather picked up as an undrafted free agent. But how does one of the best facilitating guards in recent college memory mesh with this new NBA team? And Nembhard makes a ton of sense playing in Dallas. They need a pass-heavy floor general to eventually help replace Kyrie Irving at the point guard position. And with Luka Doncic gone, that role is going to even be more open in the later future. Dallas also has plenty of size, length, and defensive strengths already with bigger stars like Anthony Davis and now just joining top pick Cooper Flagg. Bigs Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively will also thrive in a pick-and-roll pair with Nembhard. And he joins Cedric Coward as players joining teams with Washington State alums already there. Coward with Jalen Wells in Memphis and Nembhard with Klay Thompson in Dallas. And Gonzaga lifer found his way to the NBA deal tonight, too. It's Big Greg on his way to the Boston Celtics. His dad, Mark, shared this fun picture taken at the Celtics training facility, saying it might not be a jump, but it is a step in the right direction, and we couldn't be prouder of little Ben Greg. Greg signed a summer league deal with the C's and needs plenty of big performances in Las Vegas this late July to impress and hopefully earn a spot on either the main Celtics G League team or perhaps on Boston's active roster.
Do not disturb. Sam caught that. Wow, a rocket. And was Richardson.
Woe is right. Earlier today, we had the Seattle Mariners have a 5+ hour delay. Man, those fans really stuck it out. Not too many of them there, understandably, but the Twins had a pretty nice game. 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, scoreless, overshadowed by a tremendous offensive day for Minnesota. They scored 10 runs on Seattle, 10-1 the final in a series-winning game. Mariners still win the season series 4-3, but they're now back-to-back losses, one total run in the last 2 games. Miles Mascheroni, I mentioned this earlier at the 6th. He pitched the bottom of the 8th inning and then hit the lone Seattle RBI in the top of the 9th, which I say is, especially in the new era of pitchers not hitting much, that's pretty unusual. Seattle sticking on the road. Next up, they go south to the Texas Rangers tomorrow evening. Now, after that big loss, there's some positive news for M's fans. Their star catcher Cal Raleigh is on fire this year, currently second in the MVP push behind New York's Aaron Judge. Raleigh's 3 million+ votes, the most ever by any Seattle catcher up to this point in voting. And if voted in as a starter, he'd be the first Mariner to earn a starting spot by fan vote since Nelson Cruz in 2015. Big Dumper is first in MLB with a staggering 32 home runs, 69 RBI, and second behind Judge with an OPS of 131.
The pitch from Morales. Hobson swings, hits a high fly ball to deep left field, way back, and it is gone.
How about that to put an exclamation point on another strong win? Caleb Hobson, first home run of the season, busts an open 9-1 lead over the Hillsborough Hops, put up a 12-2 win. Spokane up 3-0 in the 6-game series. Braylon Wimmer continuing his red-hot streak, 3 hits, including a 3-run homer. Charlie Condon, 2 hits, including a double, pair of runs, RBI, as usual. Great day for Chuck. Every Spokane player advanced to at least first base tonight. 5 batters, multiple hits. What a night. Spokane tries to go for their 5th straight win and series-clinching 4th dub this week in a Game 4 against the Hops tomorrow night. 5 in a row would tie the season high for Spokane, so pretty good there. Tons of basketball fun, though, these past 2 nights. So much more of it. My first Hoopfest. I know it's a lot of fun. Grateful it's not going to be 105 like you were saying it was a while back.
Yeah, 87 is going to feel not too bad. We'll be right back.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
Summer has arrived, and that means barbecues on the back deck. And nobody has a better selection of decking than the decking pros at Windsor Plywood. Whatever you need, Windsor has it, including great railing options.
Windsor Plywood.
At Fred Meyer, you never compromise. You get up high quality like bread baked in store and down low prices everywhere you turn. Up high quality that's guaranteed fresh, and down low prices on over 1,000 items. With quality and savings that keep adding up, hand it to Fred Meyer shoppers. You never compromise. Fred Meyer. Fresh for everyone.
Wherever the road takes you, Chevy is ready to drive you forward. With pure power unleashed and future-forward technology. Because every mile matters. And every path leads to new possibilities.
Get the freedom to save. Current qualified lessees can get this 2025 Equinox all-wheel drive for around $299 a month. See your hometown Chevy dealer today.
I hope for people that choose to watch my forecast on Good Morning Northwest is as you're making your plans for the day, you know what's coming up for your day and how to plan it, and that you have a little bit of fun on the way.
Plan your day with Matt Gray, only on Good Morning Northwest. See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.
There's a look at your planning forecast. Plan on a warm, sunny weekend if you're not playing on Hoopfest. What a great weekend to be at the lake or enjoying some of your other favorite fun summer activities.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, going to be scorching for sure. All right, the Garland Theater will be hosting free movies for kids this summer. The movies start on June 26th and they'll run through August 30th. The lineup includes family favorites like the Lego Movie, Sing 2, Shrek, and Despicable Me 4, and many more. For a full list of dates and times, you can head to our website to check that out. But free movies for the kids. not bad.
Yeah.
Any free movie is a good movie.
Right, especially when you can stay inside with the air conditioning.
I was
when it's gonna be real
thinking
hot.
the same thing. Yes, perfect indoor movie weather.
All right, thanks so much for being with us here tonight on Nightside. We'll see you tomorrow.